Hello everyone, I'm Ladakh. Today we are going to discuss the very important skills in English writing, that is the story writing. This particular question comes out of 10 marks in your test, right? And the word limit in which you have to write is 150 to 200 words. Alright, for your kind information, this particular piece of writing in English, the story writing, is common syllabus for both class 9 and 10. So this is applicable for both class 9 and 10. Alright, now before we actually begin with how to write a story, let us discuss the marks distribution, the 10 marks. Alright. So the first thing that we are going to discuss today over here is distribution of the marks. Alright, so you have to note this because this is a very scoring question and you have full possibilities of getting 10 out of 10 marks. Alright, the first one is the title. The title itself have a 1 marks, all right? And then you have content, 4 marks. Content means the body of the story, the storyline, all right? That has a 4 marks. And then you have a accuracy, 2.5 marks. That means 2.5 marks for your accuracy. That means the kind of a word, the kind of sentences, the kind of phrases, idioms, proverb that you use in the story to develop the story, to make the story interesting, you have a 2.5 marks. That means you should not use the word which is not relevant to the story. You have to use the word, proverb or phrases, anything that you use to make the story interesting should be appropriate and related to the stories, all right? And then you have fluency. And the fluency have 2.5 marks. The fluency means when you develop a story, it has to be a logical sequence. It runs in a event-wise. And the event has to be relatable to the previous event. If it's not relevant, then your story becomes very messy. All right, that's why the flow of thought has to go in a logical sequence. And that logical sequence has a 2.5 in the marks and altogether becomes 10 marks. And this is how you get 10 out of 10 in your story writing. Alright, and the second important thing that we are going to discuss over here is the elements. Alright, elements of story writing. Okay, the elements of the story writing. In this, the first important point that you need to keep in your mind is the title. Alright, so every story has a title. Without any, there won't be any story which do not have a title. Alright, that's why the title, if you write a title, it has to be short, accurate and eye-catchy. Alright, because many a time the reader get the story through the title. Alright, that's why when you write a title, it should be short, precise and to the point. Okay. The second thing is plot of the story. The plot over here means the storyline. Okay, storyline. When you, okay, what kind of story you are going to write? Okay, in all the way you have to write your story. The story should be very, very interesting so that it connects the reader. All right, and that's why you have to think about the plot. What happened is when you have the question, what normally our students do is the moment they see the question, they keep on writing. That's wrong. So whenever you have a question, what you have to do is you need to organize the thought in your mind. What kind of story you are going to develop? What kind of story you are going to compose? That's very important, all right? That's why you should not jump on writing the answer. You have to think about what kind of story you are going to create. That is very important, okay? That becomes the plot. You need to think. Otherwise, what happened is you keep on writing, and writing. It becomes so long, and then at the end you realize that you wasted so much of time and energy, but your story doesn't develop. All right? That's why it is very important that you should think about the story, and you need to organize the plot into your mind, and then only you have to write, okay? The third thing is the character. Okay, the character or characters. That's very important in your story. When you think about this character, it can be an animal character or a human character. That depends, all right? So what happened is many a time, the character will be given in the question itself. So when it is given, you don't have to think about the character. But if it's not given, then you have to create your own character. So what I suggest is, don't extend your character, don't maximize your character. Your character should be one or two character, no more than this, because we believe that fewer is better. If your character is few, your story become interesting. If you keep on adding so many characters, it will mess up your writing. So you have to make your character short, less, and then interesting. Or you can make a human character, animal character, or you can make your character about the things and then you personified it. All right, it's up to you. It's up to the writer. Okay, the fourth one is you have to think about a problem. That's very important. All right, you don't create so many problems. All right, you have to create only one problem. Every story should have certain twist. That's very important. All right, and that's why a twist has to be a problem. So you need to create a problem in your story. When you create a problem in your story, you go on finding for the solution. All right, when you find a solution for your problem, then only you come to the conclusion. All right, and when you think about the solution, it has to be the real one. All right, when you think about the plot, think about such story which is relatable to our current life, our daily life. All right, when you connect this, you are able to connect with your reader, your examiner. So you have more chances of getting 10 out of 10. All right, so that is how it goes. Those are the main elements of the story writing. First, you have to write a title. Think about the title, which is eye-catchy, which is interesting. Then think about the story, the plot, which should be interesting one. And then think about the character, okay? Make your character less the fever, all right? And then think about certain problem, create a problem in the story. And then you find a solution for your problem, and then only you come to the conclusion. Your conclusion, when you conclude your story, it could be either happy ending or a sad ending. It's completely depend upon you, what kind of story you want to develop, all right? The third topic that we are going to discuss over here is the common mistake that our student make, all right? Common mistakes. All right, these are the things that you need to keep in your mind, because those are the common mistakes that we normally make, and then it will reduce your marks. The examiner will reduce your marks, all right? The first common mistake that our student normally commit or made is the usage. Okay, usage of the banned words. All right, now banned words over here is the SMS words, the informal words. For example, for please. Example, for please, most of our students write PLZ, PLS, so and so, right? And for because, that is mostly used by our student. For because, some write course, some write course, and your own way of writing. That's completely wrong. There are so many words, like for friend, some students write FRD. for, from, ever on, of your, for example, your. Those are not allowed to write in the story, because story writing is a standardized form of writing, and it's a very, very formal way of writing. So when in the formal writing, you are not allowed to use those banned words, all right? So you have to keep in your mind that when you write a story, do not write the short form of words, all right? Or a banned words, okay? The second one is grammatical error. Grammatical error, or you can say the wrong sentence structure. In English, we normally follow, or we follow, not normally, we follow subject plus verb plus object. That is common. That is, everybody has to follow. When you write a sentence, you have to follow subject plus verb plus object, all right? For example, I'll give you the example. She plays basketball. All right, she over here is subject, play over here is a verb, and then basketball over here is a object. This is how we use it to write a sentence. But what happened is, in our native, because we are not English speaker, all right, we are not native English speaker. So what happened is, mostly we translate. We translate our language into English. When we do this, we make a whole lot of mistakes, all right? How? That is, I'll show you. In our language, we say, more basket sigire, right? We never say, more sigire basket. We never say this, all right? Over here, the verb comes over here, and object comes over here. That is how we make mistake. So when you write a story, when you write in English, not only you write in English, but you need to think in English as well. When you think in English, definitely you will not make those grammatical errors, all right? That you need to think in your mind. And then the next one is, for the grammar error, you can also say, you need to use past tense. The tenses that we use to develop the story should be in the past, all right? That you have to keep in your mind. And the third point, the third common mistakes that we normally repeat again and again is the clumsy writing. Okay, clumsy writing over here means, when you write a story, definitely your presentation should be good, all right, so that you score good marks in your test. Your handwriting, the paragraphing of the story, everything should be very, very important, all right? But what happened is, in the 3 hours paper, it is common that we are definitely going to make mistakes somewhere or other in the 3 hours, okay? So what our students normally do is, when you make a mistake, for example, if I have to write, I am going, and then I realize that, oh, that is wrong. I should write something else instead of this. So what our students do is, they strike it off. Some write loops, and there are some students who write box and keep on shading. Spend a lot of time in, erasing these mistakes. That makes your whole writing very, very clumsy. That's why when you write this, what you have to do is, okay, instead of this, if you want to write, I went. Okay, and then you realize that this is wrong, and you just strike it off. That's it. You don't have to make it so clumsy and spoil whole your story, all right? That's very, very important. Okay, the next mistakes that our students normally do is usage of, okay, usage of supernatural characters. Okay, what happened is, when you have a story, definitely those who write story in a test, okay, are the teenagers, and you like to write about zombies, and then wizard, witch, so and so, all right, supernatural power. And I'm not completely against this, but definitely your story should be normal, something that is relate to our normal life. And when you are able to write the story which is relatable to our life, then you're able to connect to your examiner. And when you connect to your examiner, definitely you're going to get the perfect marks, 10 out of 10. And that's why I suggest not to use the supernatural characters, okay? That is normally our students do. Even when, as a teacher, I come across lots of paper where students use zombies, you know. Many of you are aware of the movie called The Train to Busan. You know, they use that storyline in the exam, right? So I suggest you not to use the supernatural character in your paper, all right? The fifth one is starts with cue or a clue, or some even say hint or outline. Okay, normally in the test you will be given the introductory line or a starting line will be given to you in the exam. So what you have to do is, the common mistake our children do is they don't start with the clue that is given in the paper, rather they start of their own. So when the clue is given, you have to start with the clue. For example, okay, in the test you may have the beginning line like one dark and stormy night. Comma, I. And then you have to begin from here. This will be given in the question and you have to start from I. Okay, not to start something of your own. When the clue is given, you have to use the cue. That's very important in your paper. All right, those are the common mistakes that our children normally repeat again and again. And I hope that you will not repeat those mistakes and get 10 out of 10 in your paper. All right? Okay, let me give you the question now. Complete the question or the whole story in your home. All right, this is a part of your home assignment. Okay, complete the story in 150 and 200 words, which begin as the following. This is the exact question that CBSE has given in 2018 board exam. All right. Okay, this is how it begins. There was a joint family of 6 members, including grandparents. It was the 75th birthday of the grandmother, and the family planned to celebrate. Now it has stopped over here. Now you have to not start it all over. First, you need to give a title to your story. Don't forget about this, all right? So title has to be short. It could be a grand surprise, a last surprise, or a pleasant surprise. It can be anything, all right? And then you have to begin from here, from the word celebrate. Okay, this is exactly how you are going to have question in your test. Okay, this is a home assignment. You need to develop a story based on the clue that is given over here. Okay, with this we have come to the end of today's session. Stay safe, stay home, and see you soon. Thank you.